Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Jim Reads Too Slow. I'm Jim, and I just wanted to catch up with you on what's been happening since my last video. I think I mentioned sometime during that video about how the weather here may be moderating a little bit, and it did. It was pretty warm for winter weather there for a few days, but right now we're in the middle of a little cold snap. Um, Here in the heartland. For the last few days, we've had lows in the single digits, -0, um, highs in the in the single digits. It was -4 today. Last night we had a low of -7 overnight. Uh, it's like one below right now. That's kind of the high for the day. And overnight, um, I think it's going to get a lot colder. We're expecting a low of 18 below zero overnight. But then it's supposed to gradually, ever so gradually, start warming up over the next week or so. And um, by this time next week, the high is supposed to be close to 60 degrees. So this weather is kind of nuts. But we had a 3-day weekend thanks to President's Day. I even took an extra day of vacation to make it 4 days, a nice long 4-day weekend. So it was a perfect time for me and my wife to get the flu. And it seems that that's kind of what happened. So it's a kind of a quick, intense stomach flu, seems to be. I started feeling it Friday night. It knocked me completely out Saturday, but then by Sunday, I was starting to come out of it. Um, so I didn't get a ton of reading done over this long weekend as I'd hoped. My biggest accomplishment, if I had one, was getting the car started and warmed up and going out and getting tacos. But anyway, I do hope uh, everyone else's reading has gone well. So what have I been up to? Well, I finished Swann's Way, the first volume of In Search of Lost Time, Remembrance of Things Past, if you will, by Marcel Proust. This is my first time reading Proust, and I am doing it as part of a roughly year-long reading of this, the longest novel. I feel an intense sense of accomplishment. This is one of those things that a lot of people want to read, say they want to read, and then never actually get around to it. So, one down, six to go, volume wise, I suppose. I would have to say, for the most part, that it was an enjoyable read. I read this is the Lydia Davis translation, one of the newer translations. Some people like it, some people don't, but whatever. My first impression is that Proust has brought to life this vivid world full of real living people, most of whom you're not going to like. I don't even like the narrator much, especially as a kid. Maybe also as an adult, I don't know. I don't know him well enough yet. It's kind of like I liken it to William Faulkner, his like beautiful description of ugliness, except that Faulkner concentrates, and compared to Proust, I do mean concentrates. Proust does tend to go on. Um, with Faulkner, it's one tiny corner of Mississippi. With Proust, it's all of French society, Parisian society. The good, the bad, there's beauty, there's ugliness. It's real people, so it's the whole mix. The first section, let me just go through it real quick. What my impressions of it. The first section is it's an extensive stream of description and observation of the narrator as a young child and his life in the village of Cambrai. We meet Swann, um, who at this point in the narration is a friend of the family. And we learn that no one wants to have anything to do with his wife. We gather that he's married beneath him, which just isn't done in this society. There's a lot of class consciousness here throughout Swann's way, and members of the narrator's family, some of them are just super snobby. The narrator and his family appear to be upper class. At least they don't have to, they never seem to have to work to make a living. And then there's the famous um, there's a famous scene with the tea and the Madeleines, and we jump into the longest section of the book, Swann in Love. This flashes back to a younger Swann, who also apparently is an upper class guy who rubs elbows with the elites in Paris. He falls in love with Odette, who is a courtesan, which is basically a high class prostitute. He develops an obsession with her. And then over time, he realizes that not only will she never love him back, but she has continued to ply her trade during their relationship, their entire relationship, which apparently he figured she would have quit. In the end, he's over her by the end of the section. He doesn't even like her. And he sees himself as having wasted years of his life on someone who isn't even his type or who is beneath him socially. So as we go through this entire section, you're thinking, man, wake up. And he finally sees it in the end, but put a pin in that. We'll come back to that one. Because the final section, we go back inside the narrator's head. He's a young boy, teen, whatever age he is at this point. And we focus again on his memories and impressions. He ruminates on the fact that the names of cities and towns convey an impression of those places. Earth-shattering, maybe at the time that was a new concept. I don't know. But we meet up again with Swann's daughter, Gilbert, who we met briefly in the first section. And in the narrator's relationship with her, we see kind of a reflection of Swann's relationship with Odette, although they're much younger and don't get into as many shenanigans as the adults do. Gilbert, it turns out, is the daughter of Swann, and his wife, dramatic organ music, Odette. So there's got to be a story there. That's apparently disclosed in a later volume. So the final section ends with the narrator's present day as he strolls through the old neighborhood, remembering the way that women used to dress back during better times, the horse-drawn carriages compared to the motor cars. He laments that the reality that he had known no longer exists. And now on to volume 2, In the Shadow of Young Girls in Flower, or that's the James Grieve translation, or Within a Budding Grove, as it's traditionally known, whichever rendering you prefer. Now, along with In Search of Lost Time, I have also been reading The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, which these two things at the same time is a crazy exercise, I know. But a person only has, one life, right? So much time. And this is a book that I've always wanted to read, or I've wanted to read for a very long time. So I'm taking advantage of the February and March read-along that is also being hosted by Greg over at Another Bibliophile Reads. And as I wrote this outline, I am in part 2, book 4. Just finished chapter 6. So I'm on page 203 of this Pavir and Volokhonsky translation. So I'm still kind of just getting into this 570-page book, learning all the ins and outs of this wacky Karamazov family. Okay, so I'm staying with that. And along the way, earlier in the month, I reread Leonard Gardner's 1969 novel Fat City. I love this NYRB edition. It's a story about the small-time boxing scene in Stockton, California, late 1950s, that kind of era. And it centers on 2 boxers. One, Billy Tully, who turns 30 during the story, but comes off as an old man, just a burnout old man. He's trying to decide if he's in or out. He comes out of kind of an unofficial retirement, but does he want to keep fighting or not? Most of the story, he seems to just want to make, feel sorry for himself and make just enough money to be able to keep drinking and paying for his cheap hotel rooms. And then there's Ernie Munger, who is just starting out, and he very well may be a younger version of Tully. His dreams seemingly have already started falling apart, and he is feeling increasingly trapped. This was a reread for me, and this novel struck me this time around as quite a bit less funny and more bleak and dark than it did the first time I read it. But it is well written. I liked it. I do like this book, and I do recommend it. It's short, 191 pages. And if you like it, or if you would prefer, there's a 1972 film adaptation of the book by John Huston. It stars Stacy Keach and Jeff Bridges. I saw it here on YouTube for free, and I thought it was great. So there's that as well. And finally, I'm still reading Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle as part of my family reading group. This is their selection. I'm in chapter 5, nearing the halfway point, and I'll let you know what I think about this. Maybe sometime, maybe next time. I might be done by then. So that's what I've been up to. And I'm starting to think now about March and maybe a few mysteries that I might want to jump into as part of March Mystery Madness. Also, my mammoth for March, which is it very well may be Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, the 4th in his Stormlight Archive series of novels. I do need to get started on that one. And I'm really starting to think seriously about this upcoming Finnegan's Wake read along that I've heard about. I have a copy of it. It's on my TBR, so why not? We'll see how that works out. And that's all I got for right now. So please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and take care of yourselves. Read something every day. And until next time, have a good one, BookTube.